I'm David.
And I'm Lucy.
And today is Tudoriferous's 5th anniversary special episode.
Mm-hmm. And sadly, we were hoping it would be all three of us, but it isn't. Michelle's still not feeling well, so good. Get well soon, Michelle.
Absolutely. But what she has done is today we're going to be asking a few questions to each other about how the podcast has gone over the years, and Michelle has sent in her answers, so she will be here in spirit, if not literally.
Well, usually we get our Patreons to think of questions to ask us, but this time we've asked them some questions that they've answered. And we've got answers, Michelle's got answers. Not definitive answers, obviously, because it's Tudoriferous, but it's...
because it's history.
A wild stab in the dark.
Yes, there's no such thing as a definitive answer in history.
So now I get very cross about that when you get to history books that say the true story of... No, there's never a true story. Okay, so the first question we asked them was, who have you found the most shocking or alarming person we've done this season and why?
Okay, so Michelle had a strong opinion on this one.
Yes. Yes, she made that opinion abundantly clear when I was telling her all about him, and it's Columbus.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, it's a good answer. I mean,
Yes.
I mean, he's one of those people who I knew was more shocking than the sort of standard story. But because, of course, for I think the vast majority of these answers, I'm going to have been a listener, a patron, and I was just going through it going, oh no. I mean, it just got worse and worse.
Yes, that episode 2 was hard to read and hard to listen to, I think. Yes. We got other answers. Mitch's Leo, would we say? Mitch's Leo, Mickey's Leo. They say, I'll need to sing a hymn to the answer. Lady Margaret Beaufort. I knew she was horribly abused and had to give birth to a child while still being a child, but that she loved wine, gambling, and died filthy rich, not just playing the Game of Thrones, but mastering it.
And I think that's important because, the question was shocking and alarming, which doesn't necessarily mean evil. It means, surprising.
Yes, yes. Not what expected, yes. Jill Osmond says, Ferdinand of Aragon, what a creep. Marrying his niece Germaine and dispossessing his daughter Juana, on top of the stuff I already knew about, funding Christopher Columbus, and setting up the Spanish Inquisition. More overall yuck than Dudley and Empson. And I've just been researching the episodes on Juana, and my opinion of Ferdinand, low at the best of times, has plummeted.
I mean, yeah, that's the trouble, isn't it? You start with Dudley and Empson fairly early on, and you think, oh, that's pretty bad. But then, oh no. I mean, and she's right, of course, Ferdinand of Aragon funds Columbus, so he's kind of responsible for all of that as well.
Yes, but the thing which really twangs your heartstrings is how he treats his daughters.
Yes.
It's very personal and very, very unpleasant. Wait till we get to Juana's episode, because it's such a tearjerker. I'd say now we're not going to be having a funny little song at the end.
Oh dear.
Sad music for a sad life.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Dan Ayer also votes for Ferdinand, actually. Especially, he says, the totally unexpected change of perspective from Isabella's useless husband to a 6-dimensional chess master who made many, unpalatable choices in his and others people's personal lives. And then he adds, I don't remember if he had any illegitimate children, though. Would be a shocker if he didn't.
I think I answered, yes, loads.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yes. I like Melinda Hornton's comment, because she says, I'm assuming Dracula and the actual devil are cheating.
Well, I mean, I'd say the devil is. I'm not sure Dracula is. I mean, he was a real person.
He was a real person, yes, and he did all the things... No, I mean, he didn't do all the things you might think of if you've watched the films, but he certainly did all the things that the name Vlad the Impaler might imply.
He probably had a much higher body count than the fictional Dracula. I mean, the fictional Dracula had to kill each person individually.
Yes, and not in a quick sort of type way. I mean, it takes time to suck the blood out of somebody.
Yes.
I'm not speaking from experience. Yeah, she goes on to say, I'm tempted by the Neapolitans, but I have 2 less heads in jars answers. Again, Columbus.
Yeah.
Most dismaying episodes I've ever heard. It wasn't all him, but he was very much part of it. And then she goes on to say, and Maximilian, because that's a very big, important job with a huge impact on the world, and I'm not convinced he knew how to do it. The whole Pope-Emperor thing. It feels uncomfortably resonant today with people who don't care what the rules are if they want a shiny thing. Well, I've no idea what she's getting at there.
No,
You?
no, nobody.
No.
Doesn't sound like anyone.
No.
The irony is, we could be referring to so many people.
I don't know, do you have any thoughts about shocking and alarming?
I mean, yes. I mean, obviously, just because it's so fresh in my mind, I have to mention Vasco da Gama.
Yes.
I mean, he burning to death an entire ship full of pilgrims just to make a point.
Yeah.
And deliberately sort of, waiting around for it.
It was that whole Komodo dragon thing, wasn't it? I've
Yes.
bitten you, now I'm just going to sit here and wait for it all to happen.
And I was just thinking back through, and, I've already mentioned, Ferdinand and Isabella and their treatment of everybody.
Yeah, I've gone for Isabella. That was my thought. I thought they've done Ferdinand, but Isabella has got a lot to answer for too.
Yes, it's the way that she didn't just, insist on, appallingly treating all the Jews and Muslims in her own country. She insisted that anybody who wanted to have anything to do with her had to do the same thing.
Yes.
Just...
Yeah. I suppose she did manage to protect her daughters while she was still alive, but then, you feel that's the least you can do as a mother. And protecting your daughters from their own father, husband, son, well, it was two, she was dead by the time Juana needed protecting from her son, but...
And she could have not kept on marrying them to the same King of Portugal. and I think as almost all of the really kind of unpleasant, shocking ones haven't been part of Tudor England, because Dudley and Empson have been sort of overtaken by a lot of people
Yes.
around the world. I'm going to throw in a dishonourable mention for John Tiptoft towards the end of his career.
Yes, yeah, that was a career of two halves, wasn't it?
Because I'm sorry, any time the word impaling comes up,
There's no good impaling.
no. That's something. Crochet that onto a sampler and hang that up. There's no such thing as a good impaling.
Perhaps that ought to be like what's it, Sawbones thing about...
Don't drill a hole in your
Drill
head.
a hole in your head, that's there. And keep it grim for grim reading. Well, ours had better be, there's no such thing as a good impaling. Right, the second question was, who was the best hidden gem? I like Jill Osmond's answer because it's one of these, sometimes you wonder whether the cameo episodes sort of go out into the ether and nobody really remembers who these people are. But she says Cardinal Christopher Bainbridge and Johannes Burchett both provided entertaining stories throughout their appearances. Well, poor old Bainbridge, I mean, his entertaining story was he's murdered in the end.
Yeah, well, too good for this sinful earth. But I did like how Burchett, she's right, he kept turning up, getting more and more alarmed. Through.
It's infuriated.
I also rather like Marta's answer. She says, can I say Ferdinand of Aragon since I just listened to his episodes this season? And partly I do think he is a bit of a hidden gem because, we thought he was just an adjunct to Isabella until you did the episode. But also, that attests that Marta, who is a patron, has essentially been a patron even though she only listened to one person. So thank you.
Well, I wonder if it's just us who feel that Ferdinand of Aragon is a hidden gem. Maybe everybody else knew about him beforehand. Because I was listening to the Isabella episode, the one on the main feed, and we were talking about Ferdinand. I've sort of cringed slightly, thinking, oh, God, he's not like this at all. No. Yeah, it's what we're thinking of. But then, we just went with the information we had at the time.
Yes. So what is Michelle's take on the best hidden gem?
Michelle says, Margaret of Burgundy, no stamping of feet and super tall.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair enough. I mean, she is so seen as this just sort of adjunct figure who's there in the background of people who are campaigning against Henry VII. But her own story is just remarkable.
And completely different.
Yes.
You could take Henry VII out of the story in many ways, couldn't you? And she's still got an interesting story.
I might have more to say on that later, so we'll
Okay.
to that.
Dan Ayer says, John Morton, because it turns out we have both studied in literally the same building, if centuries apart. What are the odds? I'm not sure where... Is he Balliol?
Yeah.
I remember. I know his head is in the Catholic school, isn't it? Stonyhurst.
Stonyhurst. Well, it might be that Dan Ayer was in Stonyhurst. And when he says they studied the same building, as well as centuries apart, part of him was still in that same building.
Yeah, well, if he put on a production of Hamlet, he might have become very close to him indeed.
Yes.
But my thoughts on it was Mandakai the Wise.
Oh.
She was very exciting. I got very excited when I found her and then made the connection between her and Isabella. I thought, I literally got up and did a little dance. De Puebla as well. I found him a very endearing character.
Oh, yes. I don't know whether I'd have found him endearing in person. It's more just how put upon he was by everybody.
Maybe it's just in comparison to De Aiello, you think?
Yeah.
And the other one I thought of was Felice de la Rovere, because her life was a ripping yarn from start to finish.
Yes.
And I found the people who surrounded her were very real, as they often are in these Italian episodes. You get a lot more information about the actual people.
Yes.
Anyway, what did you...
Well, so, I've got a few as well. I think probably the biggest one for me was William Caxton. Not, obviously, I knew that he's the printer, but what amazed me was how much else went on in his life. You know,
we almost forgot he was a printer when we were getting excited about him being a smuggler and a spy.
Yes. It really shows all these different links and all the ways that it was all brought together. And of course, it makes sense that the person who brings the technology to a place didn't invent it from whole cloth. They had to find it somewhere else. But it really shows how it all came together. I also really liked learning about Jakob Fugger.
Yes. Yes, he tied so many things together.
It explains, I mean, honestly, it's the only thing that explains how Maximilian even functioned.
Yes.
And frankly, it was a moment of, wow, so the whole idea of incredibly rich businessmen bankrolling their favoured politicians, it's not exactly a new thing, is it?
I felt that, I think out of all the episodes we've done, I felt that was the one that was most resonant. It felt most modern.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unfortunately. I'd like to think of something else that felt most modern, but no, that was the one.
Yeah. By the way, listeners, I'm sorry if you can hear a kind of a sort of hissing noise at my end. I've turned off the air conditioner, but unfortunately this computer is struggling a bit, so you're probably hearing its fan going. So
yeah, and you can probably hear our PlayStation going on in the background as my granddaughter is silently playing on it.
Yeah. My last hidden gem, Bartolome de las Casas.
Yes.
Because what I really like is when you can often have people say everybody thought a certain way in a period. And it's absolutely true that the majority of people would have thought a certain way, or the ones that are running. But I always love it when you find, no, right from the beginning, there were people who were going, this is not right. This is the man who wrote about what Columbus was doing, for people who may not remember. And it's just, it goes to show you can't fully give them that excuse that no one had thought that Columbus was doing the wrong thing. Because there he was.
He knew from experience. He'd lived it himself, and then suddenly thought, I don't think this is right, actually. Which is a very brave thing to do. Far more brave than starting at that end.
Yes.
To stand up to the people who've been your friends and your allies and say, what you're doing is very wrong. Yeah.
Yes.
Brave man.
Yeah.
Right, next one. Who would you most like to go to the pub with, and why?
Dan Ayer is saying Michelangelo, as long as he had a minder to take care of any sudden depressive moods. which is fair. Unfortunately, he did always seem to have a lot of friends who around him to help out, despite the way he treated them. Dan Ayer says he's not sure he could do that without knowing him better. And if they are a second companion, Katerina Cornaro, because her post-Cyprus life sounds delightful, and I'd love to see her palace, which definitely has a pub.
Yeah, all the best people seem to be there. I mean, we hadn't heard of most of them, but apparently they were the best people. We'd heard of Pietro Bembo. Yeah, both of those people we did as Patreon episodes. But they're well worth it. I mean, Michelangelo's stories, amazing and very long.
Yes.
Very long.
So got through so many popes. Yeah. And it's that Melinda Hondon actually responded to this, saying that she really liked the idea of Katerina because she remembers the episodes talking about how hard it is to get a vibe of a cultural hostess at this distance. She might have been terribly boring. It'd be nice to know. And Dan replies saying, it's why we need to take her to the pub. It's for historical science.
She goes on to say, for me, Leonardo. I think everybody would like to take Leonardo to the pub.
Yes.
He's such a nice man. But I feel like poor Prince Arthur probably needs and deserves one drink at least. And I'd like to know what kind of lad he was and do some counterfactual speculation based on that.
Yes. I always think that with Arthur, that the one of the very few lines we have from him where he says to Catherine of Aragon, I shall make a most loving husband. And you just think, oh. I mean, he was Henry.
Had the chance.
I mean, he was Henry VIII's brother. He might have become an absolute terror, but it's still. And Jill Osmond also says Leonardo da Vinci.
Yes.
A nice night out, and he could afford to buy a round too, which he certainly could.
Yes, he could, and would. I expect. I think he probably would. I'm not sure about Michelangelo. I don't think you'd be able to squeeze a pint out of him.
No. Also, you wouldn't... I don't know. Where would it have been?
I don't think I agree with Marta. Pietro de Ayala, it seems like you would have a rioting time with him, pun intended.
Uh-huh.
So, yes, I think I'd find that quite hard going. And they would know the greatest gossip from Scotland, England, Spain, and the Netherlands. And for some reason, he seemed to become the bestie of every single king he crossed paths with. James IV, Henry VII, and Ferdinand. Imagine talking to the guy that had the ear of those three. I would want to ask him so many questions. Ha ha ha. Yeah, lots of questions. I'm not sure you get a sensible answer out of him.
Yeah, I suppose it depends what you think of in terms of going to the pub. If you're going for like an interesting chat, possibly. But if you're going for a wild bender,
yes.
You would probably get one from him.
Yeah, yes, for that, he's definitely the one to go with.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you would end up in front of the magistrate explaining why you'd killed a commoner, but other than that...
What was Michelle's answer?
She wants to go to the pub with Maximilian. He'd be telling tall tales all night, but I know I'd have to pay. You need to match up Maximilian and Leonardo.
Actually, that would be great, because none of Maximilian's portraits are very good. So that would actually be... like, get a nice sketch out of it at the end.
Yeah, Leonardo might be quite happy to paint him as long as he didn't say, don't make me fat, will you? Like Isabella d'Este. I was thinking, Edward, now have a special friend.
Oh.
I'll take him to the pub, then I'll quickly bustle him out the back door and get him the hell out of there.
Yes. I forget by the end that he was old enough to... Because he always, in my mind, stayed 10 years old.
Yes.
Because he was in his 20s when he died.
Yeah, well, the stuff... I mean, the thing about him is you don't feel he gets any older because he has the same voice. Now, have a special friend.
Yes. Oh, dear.
He doesn't sound 22. So what about you? Who do you want to take to the pub?
Ooh, so, I mean, my first thought was Margaret Paston. Just because I think she needs a drink.
Yes, needs a break, yes.
After, everything her family and her neighbours are putting her through.
Yeah.
I also wondered if we could meet up with Sir Roland de Velville, who, if people don't remember who that was, Henry VII's possible secret son. Maybe.
Yes.
I think you You wouldn't get it off him straight away, but a few drinks down, and you might be able to get him to admit to it.
Would he know? I don't know whether Henry would tell him. He might be thinking, what a nice man that Henry is. He's given me so many honours, and having no idea why it was happening.
And to entertain the rest of the pub goers, I think Trithemius, Maximilian's not magician.
Not magician, no, definitely not. Yes.
I know that's a very odd group of people, but I'm thinking, well, it's kind of one needs it, one I want to talk to, and one would just be fun.
Yes. And you'd finally get that recipe for him for, what was it, Eternal Light.
Oh, yes. Handy.
I deliberately left the last couple of things out because I didn't want people trying it and, putting the energy business out of,
Oh, no, yeah. Terrible thought.
Yes. Right, whose life would make a good film and who would play them?
So I'd like to start with Michelle's answer here, actually, because I think it's a good one.
I'd actually love to see a movie of Louis, the Universal Spider.
Mm-hmm.
But as a retrospective, with old Louis being played by Gary Oldman, and him remembering himself, with Jason Clarke being a middle-aged him. I must admit, I've never heard of Jason Clarke. I don't know any young actors, so I will leave it up to the Patreons to pick someone. Just picture them hyped up on way too much caffeine. Should I have heard of Jason Clarke? Is he very, very famous?
Oh, he's one of those people where I if I looked him up, I'd probably know who. Hang on, Jason Clarke. Let's. This is the bit where we pop to the Bodleian. Oh, yeah. I've never seen him in anything. I have seen. He's with Oppenheimer, so I must have seen him because I have seen Oppenheimer. But he didn't.
He didn't jump out at you.
No. Okay.
So the young Louis. I don't know any young actors either, so...
Yeah, that's a difficult one, isn't it? Because, it probably would be someone who's unknown at this point. Yeah. Dan Iyer says, my answer is yes. By which I think he means everybody, just everyone. Let do the entirety of Tudoriferous dramatised.
No, there's a thought. Melinda Horton again says, I do think Margaret Tudor, Queen of Scotland, would be good. And I think so, because we get a lot of Mary Queen of Scots, and Margaret Tudor had the same awful taste in men, didn't she? Yeah. It's all very stormy and romantic/disastrous. You could play up the different choices and play down the slightly dull actual character. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at casting, though. Maybe something like Romola Garai, is that how you pronounce it? I did look her up.
Romola Garai, yes.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that.
Who looks ever so sweet and can turn it into something more hardcore when she likes. I also think a lot of actors would have fun with James IV. Suave, lovely, hint of doomed. And Angus, awful man but lots of oomph.
Yes.
Yeah. Now I'm seeing Angus, actually. As this, I've got his name, the Scottish bloke in Blackadder.
Oh!
He is an Angus, McAngus.
Yes.
Yes. That's why I'm seeing that Angus is him. I don't know about James. Lovely hair. You have to make sure you get the hair.
Yeah, you see, I'm seeing James as Tony Curran, but a few years ago. It's just... And if you want to know what Tony Curran looks like, basically, he looks exactly like Van Gogh. So if you're picturing Van Gogh, that is. And I don't just say that because he played Van Gogh in Doctor Who. He really looks like Van Gogh. It's actually quite remarkable.
I must watch some films from time to time. Jill Osmond says, Caterina Sforza or Lucretia Borgia, but absolutely nothing made up that didn't happen in the screenplay, please. Mm-hmm. I think that for every historical film, please, don't make it up.
Because you don't need to. There's always so much. I don't mind merging a bit if you've got a film and you're trying to cover something that happens over a period of 20 years. But you don't need to be completely make things up, because it's... I remember the Mary Queen of Scots film with Saoirse Ronan I started, but they merged together Robert Dudley and Lord Darnley, and I thought, oh no. No, don't do that.
they're completely different people. Is that the one where she met Elizabeth?
Oh, well, I think that's anything with Mary Queen of Scots. I don't think anyone's ever resisted the urge to have them meet. It's just...
Oh, well, Jill Osmond says, no idea who could play them, Lucretia and Katerina. Maybe someone age-appropriate.
Yes.
Both way more interesting than the men in their lives. I don't know about Lucretia, actually.
I mean, Cesare's interesting. You can't say he's not interesting.
Say not interesting. Again, I think Felice would make an excellent film. I'd make a good Italian film. You'd need the language and the Italian countryside and the rain, of course. Except it wouldn't be any rain in the film, would there?
Yeah, because otherwise you have to decide whether those people are going to have cod Italian accents or not, which is always a problem, you know. So, for me, I think, and this is sort of, I hinted at this earlier, I think it's Margaret of Burgundy. I think that it would be a fantastic one to make a story, to do a mini-series on, because essentially there's enough, and this could be an English mini-series, because there's enough familiar characters to draw people in, but enough unfamiliar material so they wouldn't know where it was going. You know, and you'd have Margaret Burgundy be played by Gwendoline Christie, because she's very tall, but
Right.
absolutely brilliant actor.
Right.
You know, probably most famous for Game of Thrones playing Brienne of Tarth, but I mean, she's played but I mean, she's played Lucifer in Sandman. She's played the headmistress in Wednesday, and lots of things. I mean, she's absolutely brilliant, and she's got the ability to kind of shift between sweet and steely really well. You know, she would really convince you as Edward IV's sister, you know, as that kind of figure. I'm not obsessed with Game of Thrones, but I looked at the portrait of Charles the Bold, and he just looks a bit like a slightly gone to seed Richard Madden. So that would kind of fit with him.
I know what Charles looks like, so I'll hang on to that.
Yes. Which would also work quite well. And then you could get, you know, a whole load of British character actors in as their whole family. I'm really picturing, I think his name is... Just checking this, because I was thinking about who would play George, Duke of Clarence. Ooh. And for some reason, I really think it would be Leo Woodall, someone who can really do just dim in a way that she would see as endearing and everyone else wouldn't. I'm sure the man himself isn't dim, but it's just, and he often actually plays quite sort of intelligent characters, but I can just really see that working.
I see him as somebody like Rupert Everett, but and I don't know why.
I can really see that, actually, but again, it would have to be Rupert Everett a few years ago, because obviously he died a bit young for that now. It's just... and there would just be so much... And, you know, you'd get Maximilian, you'd get the whole of the Tudor things, you'd get the Spider King, you'd get Charles VIII. I mean, because Burgundy is at the crossroads of everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we were going to do Tudoriferous the miniseries, you could do worse than have her as your central character.
Yeah, well, that sounds wonderful. Yeah.
Someone get on to that, please.
Yeah, and call it Tudoriferous the miniseries. Who do you hope a historian manages to find a whole new source on, maybe a diary? Probably phrase that a bit better, but anyway, you know what I mean.
Yeah, something like that. Yes. A source, a diary, something that gives us a whole new aspect of their life. And we accidentally forgot to give this question to Michelle, so there isn't an answer on this one. But so for other people, Dan Ayer, thank you so much for answering so many of these questions, Dan, as did Marta.
Yeah.
He says, this one's easy. Prince Arthur's diary about his adventures in Spain, or lack thereof.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if he were lying about his adventures in Spain, he'd be just as likely to lie about it in his diary.
Yes, absolutely.
Dear diary, you'll never guess what I did last night.
Yeah. Second best is The Prince in the Tower. And again, Dan, you basically just want the diaries of these poor teenage boys who die young.
I don't know what would be in the diary of the Princess in the Tower. I suppose maybe somebody who was in the tower with them who wrote a diary. But I mean, it's going to be having a very abrupt ending, whatever the answer.
Or will it? And
whereas it's going, day 343 in Flanders.
Carrie McRobb has actually a similar sort of idea. She suggests Elizabeth of York.
Yeah.
What was it like?
She knows. She must know.
Yes.
Teresa Muyor says definitely the Princess in the Tower.
Yeah.
It's the old chestnut, isn't it?
Yeah. What do you want to know? Well, one of my options, actually, which kind of ties into this, is sort of the other way of seeing that, which is I'd really like a diary from Perkin Warbeck. No. I mean, because I think probably it wasn't him, and so there would be this constant thing of, I can't believe I'm getting away with this. Oh, God, run away! I can't believe I'm getting away with this.
Or, I really wish I hadn't started this now. I can't get out.
Yeah.
Or, seeing it from the other angle, a diary from Richard III.
Yes.
Tuesday. Today I killed my nephews. Nobody will ever find out. Tee hee hee.
Brian R has a very interesting one, actually. Someone who wasn't the main subject of an episode, but comes in, and that's John II of Aragon. Says his conflict with the Cortes, writing about his brother's grandiose and fanciful ambitions, his psychopathic nephew, going to war with his eldest son, with his second wife wanting her son to take the throne or marry into one. I mean, yeah, okay, fair enough. That's...
Yeah, and if people are trying to place him, if you listen to the Ferdinand of Aragon episode, he's at the beginning.
He's another one of those figures who, if we'd started even earlier, probably would have got an episode.
Yes.
And then Marta has got a really thorough answer. So let's just one. So she says, the other one of the Spanish princesses that no one ever talks about, Maria of Aragon.
We've actually mentioned her this very week. It's gone out this very week.
But, even so, I mean, as you called her on the episode, sadly, she did become a bit of a pious baby-making machine who got a lot of clothes and jewels. But as Marta carries on, we have so much information about Tudor England from Spanish sources, from letters of Catherine to her family. We know about letters of Catherine to her sister Juana, to her court and her parents, but not to her other sister, whom she would even closer in age to, so probably also had a closer relationship with. She was also, as you say, the Queen of Portugal. It makes no sense, given the importance of Anglo-Portuguese relations, that Catherine wouldn't seek help from her sister, the Queen of Portugal, or contact her. I believe there must have been as much correspondence with her and the Portuguese court as there was with the rest of her family. And that's an opportunity for another huge perspective on Tudor England from the Portuguese side, and what they thought about everything that was happening to Catherine over in England.
Yeah, where is it? Where is this correspondence?
I mean, I know there was a couple of big fires at Portuguese palaces, so hopefully it didn't all kind of go up in smoke. But if it is, and if there are any listeners out there who have access to the Portuguese records and most likely who read and speak Portuguese...
That would certainly help, yes. Yes. And while we're at it, anyone who has access to Danish records and speaks Danish, that would help too, but wouldn't help us with the Portuguese side.
I have access to so many Turkish articles that I'm researching by Izid, but I can't read them, so...
That's so frustrating, isn't it?
So...
Well, my thought on it was Cecily Neville. Because we kept saying all the way through, why didn't she keep a diary? Why didn't she keep a diary? We just wanted to know what she thought about what her kids were up to.
So true. And, wow, I mean, it's that moment where her son has essentially accused her of sleeping around for political purposes. It's just...
You can imagine her face when someone told her that.
Yes.
He said, what?
And he's going, well... Mum, you did claim that Ed was illegitimate when you were angry with him, so I'm just...
Yes, but every mother does that.
Well, I do have one further person that I would love to have a diary on, because I want Dracula's diary.
I don't. I don't.
I don't just mean, death, lunch. Death.
Death and lunch at the same time sometimes.
But, because honestly, I've got to think, and I do remember some people talking about this, and not just Wallachian or Romanian historians who want to kind of rehabilitate it. I mean, several others saying, look, it would be literally impossible for Ibsen to have done some of these things. So it would have been quite interesting to know. I'm sure he was still a monster, but like how much of it was actually true.
Yes, the whole forest thing that we don't need to go into because it's very disturbing.
Yeah.
And I have a 7-year-old child poking me in the back as we speak.
Oh, well, appropriately enough, the next question is...
Yeah, the next question is, what one event in all those we've covered over the last 5 years have you found the most hilarious?
And I am definitely... I have my own ideas, but also I'm definitely in agreement with Michelle. We're just going to say... and for those of you who aren't patrons, you will have to listen to have this explained. Caterina Sforza and the Quattro Fighi.
Yes,
Quattro
Fighi.
4 figs. What does that mean? Don't Google it.
No, but do listen to the episode because it was a very funny moment. Yes. Marta says, when Henry VII was trying to convince Ferdinand to marry Juana to him after Philip's death, and they said, yeah, we'll have her even if she's crazy. The English don't mind insanity. Well, it turns out we did, which is why we kept putting George III aside.
Yes. Well, I suppose that's the trouble you see with Juana. She'd have been the consort, it wouldn't have mattered, but George was technically in charge. And he was very dominant when he was in charge.
And Henry didn't think she was mad.
No.
Not at all. In fact, very few people who met her thought she was mad.
Oh.
Yes. My feeling, the one that immediately leapt to my mind was Maximilian sending Castellesi back to Rome to make him Emperor Pope, or Pope Emperor, whatever it was. I mean, poor Castellesi had travelled all that way, just managed to track Maximilian down, and I'd sort of imagine him being turned round on the doorstep. Go on, off you go get back there. Oh, why is that, sire? I want to be Pope Emperor. You think, great. So who am I going to talk to about this?
Well, one of mine was just Maximilian, full stop.
Yes.
All of it. I mean, it just kept getting madder and madder. The extract from his autobiography.
Yes.
the
that
helmet.
Would make a good film.
Yes.
His autobiography. A bit and it glides in and out of reality, and just like his own mind, I should think.
But that's one of the reasons, again, why Margaret of Burgundy, because he's in it, and his episode can begin as if it's a totally different show.
Yes.
And
then he is climbing mountains, and he wasn't the one who fought ferocious bears. That was Leonardo. I'm sure he. Oh, I know. He jumped across ice and nearly slipped, and
yeah.
Yeah, and then you cut back to him and he's just picking his teeth or something.
Also, honourable mentions for Anne de Bourges' look.
Yes.
Machiavelli having to deal with the Florentine council. I particularly enjoyed the little bell every time he was sent somewhere else. And
poor man.
And of course, a special mention for Sir Ralph Ulingham.
I've just thought, actually, of course, the hidden gem, the one you didn't expect him to be like he was, Machiavelli, definitely.
Yes!
He came across so well. He was, he seemed to be one voice of sanity in what seemed like a very mad world.
Yes. And also, Dan Ayer has not exactly focused on the people so much as some of the features of Tudoriferous. So he particularly likes the squishy of syphilis, Jiggly, that he knows that prostitution in Southwark used to be run by a bishop.
Yes, and he said that when his wife asked him whether he did know that, he said, yes, I do, thanks to Tudoriferous.
And Michelle's gasps of horror and calling historical figures jerks. Which is entirely fair.
Yeah, I mean, yes, many of them were.
So our next one was... I
suddenly thought of this question when I was doing Juana. because I thought, my God, if anyone deserves a big hug, it's her.
Yeah.
So who, out of everyone we've done, deserves a big hug? And Dan agrees. He says, but she might bite me. She won't bite you. I can assure you she won't bite you.
Yeah. And he also says, oh, would I have a special friend?
Thank you.
Oh, but I have a special friend. Deserves one, of course.
Now he's on helium.
Yes. As did Mum. I put stars around it, so I assume this is Margaret Beaufort Mum, and that means
Yeah.
when she was a child bride and a child mum.
Yes.
And all those people, Hannah Bampson and Dudley. I mean, he's got a point.
Yes. Yes, those poor son-ifs.
Yeah.
Marta says, De Puebla, the poor man could not win.
No.
He suffered bullying in the workplace, and that's always tough. But he couldn't go back home.
I know.
God knows he wanted to.
I know, but then again, I mean, since people in England were bad enough about his potential, about his Jewish family, I mean, how bad would it have been back in Spain?
Yes, he'd been out.
Yes. Amanda Hayes says, Anne of Brittany. She used every tool at her disposal, but still got screwed over. Although she points out, not sure she'd want a hug, but I'd offer. Amanda...
Yeah, always ask first, I think. Always ask. This goes back to a Halloween episode we did quite a while ago. Jill Osmond says, poor Richard Hunn. So he was the one who was in the Lonard's Tower.
Mm-hmm.
He was, well, let's say he met with an accident that wasn't his fault.
Mm.
And then his dead body was put on trial. I'm assuming she means he needs a hug prior to all this going on. Not be a bit of a squishy arrangement afterwards. And all the victims of lead characters like Columbus and Dudley and Epsom, etc.
Yeah. Definitely. God, have to hug the entirety of the Americas.
Yes. I felt not just Juana, but Catherine as well. All the sisters, in fact. I feel Isabella has a lot to answer for.
Yes.
Her style of parenting really left quite a few casualties.
I mean, I would say just about everyone that's already been mentioned. Plus, I think Richard Grey, 3rd Earl of Kent.
Yes. Yeah.
And, slightly different take, maybe if Isabella of Castile had been hugged a lot more early on.
Yes, she had an awful childhood, didn't she?
Yes.
Actually, Maximilian as well. He could have done with a few hugs when he was little.
Yeah.
I don't think he got any off his dad.
No.
We had one more question.
Mm-hmm.
It was emailed to us, but I thought it was interesting and thought it needed to talk about it. This is from Gemma. Mm-hmm. Are you able to explain to me how Henry VII got away with backdating his reign to the day before Bosworth? I thought the whole point of his claim to be king by right of conquest would mean he couldn't be king until Ricky III perished. But as I understand it, he got quite a lot from the finding of, inverted commas, traitors who fought against him at Bosworth. And then she goes, I'm hoping that your vast and deep reading around the era means you know the answer, as I can't find out anything myself. Well, we could do a few idle speculations.
That's what we do best. So, Michelle's opinion is, and I've got a sort of a paraphrase of it here, that they were all just too terrified to say no. I mean, all the nobles wouldn't have known if he would just execute them if they pointed out his his complex answer. I mean, they were perhaps used to a lot of people acting that way, and so this way, if he wants to give, say, two totally contradictory things, everyone just went, yep, fine, Henry.
Yeah.
Let's not get started again.
And maybe some people are thinking, we've been all the way through the Wars of the Roses, let's just let him get on with it.
There's an old family trick. So you might remember that when Henry Bolingbroke came back, having been banished from England as the Earl of Hereford, he returned because he was now the Duke of Lancaster and was supposedly claiming as the Duke of Lancaster, not the Earl of Hereford. So I think Henry would say, no, it's perfectly simple. You see, the man who won by right of conquest was the Earl of Richmond. The man who was king already was King Henry. It doesn't matter we were the same person.
Who else said that? We read something similar recently. Was it something somebody said, yeah, but that was the Bishop of so-and-so, and now this is the Pope?
There was something about Louis the XII of France saying it was perfectly appropriate for you to treat me badly when I was merely a duke, but now and it wouldn't be appropriate for a king to give in to a duke. So
yes, yes, that was him. Yes, I sort of niggling there. I couldn't quite remember who it was. And so apologies for noises off. Incidentally, I have an extremely leech-like granddaughter. who's in.
And those were the questions. So thank you so much to the patrons that came and gave some great answers there. And we hope you enjoyed ours. And it's fantastic that this podcast is now on its beginning its 6th year, and possibly this year, between now and next August, we may reach the end of Henry VII's era. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for those of you who started listening. This one would be a slightly odd one to start with, but welcome anyway. And thank you to those who've been listening for the whole 5 years. Thank you to those who are on Patreon and those who are just, enjoying and coming to listen to the feed. And we will see you again next time.
Mm-hmm.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.